Stop what you are doing right now. Close every other tab, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of story that gets scrubbed from the internet, the kind of story that publicists lose sleep over, the kind of story someone desperately does not want you to hear. Last night, inside a private dining room at one of the most exclusive restaurants in Los Angeles, something happened between Rihanna and ASAP Rocky that has sent shockwaves through their inner circle, and I need you to understand something. This was not a breakup. This was not a screaming match. This was not petty celebrity drama you scroll past and forget. What happened in that room was so intensely personal, so devastatingly raw, that the people who witnessed fragments of it are still shaken. A folded piece of paper. That is all it took. One handwritten note passed across a candlelit table, and the most powerful woman in entertainment was reduced to tears she could not stop. The man who wrote it could not even say the words out loud. He had to write them down because his voice would not carry the weight. Now, I know what you are thinking. You have seen 1,000 clickbait headlines about these two, but what I'm about to break down is different. By the time I am done, you will understand why this one quiet dinner could be the most important night in the history of their relationship, and you will understand the dark, complicated truth nobody in their camp wants the public to see. Settle in. This is going to be a ride. Before I take you inside that restaurant, I need to rewind. This story does not start with a dinner reservation. It starts with a decade of history, a web of pain, loyalty, legal nightmares, and a love story so intense it terrifies both people living it. And unless you understand the full scope of what these two have been through, the weight of that folded note will never make sense. Robin Rihanna Fenty and Rakim Athalaston Mayers did not fall in love the way tabloids want you to believe. There was no single magical moment. What happened was far more complicated and far more beautiful. These two orbited each other for over 10 years before crossing the line from friendship into something deeper. A full decade of knowing someone, watching them date other people, watching them get hurt, watching them grow before either had the courage to say what they felt. And the reason it took so long is because both of them knew that if they ever crossed that line, there was no going back. The stakes were always too high. Go back to 2012, the MTV Video Music Awards. Rocky, this fearless kid from Harlem who had just stormed the rap world, grabs Rihanna on stage during Cockiness, Love It. The chemistry was electric. The internet immediately shipped them. But behind the scenes, they were just cool, industry friends, two people who ran in the same circles and respected each other from a careful distance. People around them have since said you could feel the tension even then, but neither was willing to act on it because the timing was never right. While the world fantasized, real life was happening. Rocky dated Kendall Jenner, Chanel Iman, and others. Rihanna was navigating some of the most painful chapters any woman in the public eye has endured. The trauma with Chris Brown, a nightmare that played out in front of the entire planet and left scars the public still does not fully understand. The complicated entanglement with Drake that never quite became what either truly wanted. Then the long, intensely private relationship with Saudi billionaire Hassan Jameel, a romance she guarded so fiercely most people forgot it existed. Through every chapter, Rakim was there, not loudly, not possessively, just present. A phone call here, a check-in there. The kind of quiet consistency most people overlook because it isn't dramatic enough for headlines. But Rihanna noticed every single time. She has told close friends that Rocky was the one person in the industry who never wanted anything from her. He never tried to leverage the friendship. He just showed up. Then 2020 hit. The pandemic shut the world down and opened a door locked for a decade. With nowhere to go, Rocky and Rihanna took a cross-country road trip in a tour bus. No entourage, no paparazzi, no publicists. Just two people who had known each other forever, finally exploring what had always simmered underneath. Sources say there was one particular night on that trip, parked somewhere in the middle of nowhere under a sky full of stars, where everything changed between them. them. The exact details have never leaked, but people close to them say that whatever happened that night was the point of no return. When they returned as a unit. The world watched as hip-hop's most eligible bachelor and pop music's most untouchable queen became one of entertainment's most magnetic couples. The pregnancy reveal at the Super Bowl, the matching designer paparazzi moments, the way Rocky looks at her in every shot like she is the only person alive. It was the kind of love that made even cynics believe. But here's where the fairy tale cracks. Behind every picture-perfect moment, a storm has been building, a storm most people know nothing about, and that storm brought them to that dinner table. Let's talk about the things slowly poisoning everything: the case, the trial, the specter of prison following Rakim like a shadow he cannot outrun. November 2021, ASAP Rocky is accused of firing a semi-automatic handgun on ASAP Rocky, a former associate and member of the ASAP mob. Rocky allegedly arranged a meeting in Hollywood to discuss a dispute. It escalated violently, and Rocky claims he was grazed by a bullet. Rocky pleaded not guilty. He maintains his innocence, but the legal system doesn't care about innocence until it's proven in court, and the wheels of justice grind excruciatingly slow. What makes this case particularly dangerous is the weapon enhancement. In California, the use of a firearm in an assault can add years to a sentence. Rocky is not facing a slap on the wrist. He is facing the kind of time that would mean his children grow up visiting his father behind glass.
Then came the moment seared into Rihanna's memory forever. April 2022. She is 9 months pregnant with their first son, Raza, returning from a baby moon in Barbados. They land at LAX, and before Rocky clears the jet bridge, Homeland Security and the LAPD swarm him. Handcuffs, arrest, assault with a deadly weapon. Picture it, Rihanna, one of the most powerful women alive, on the tarmac watching the father of her unborn child dragged away in handcuffs, 9 months pregnant, heart shattering, and there is absolutely nothing her billions can do. That kind of helplessness rewires something inside you that never goes back to normal. People around her at the time said she did not cry publicly. She went completely silent, which anyone who knows her will tell you is far more terrifying. Rocky was released on bail, but the damage was done. From that moment, every family photo, every red carpet appearance has been underscored by unspoken terror. What if he goes away? What if the father of Raza and Riot Rose gets sent to prison? What happens to this family then? The psychological toll has been immense. Sources describe a man fighting on every front, trying to be a present father to 2 toddlers, trying to finish his long-awaited album Don't Be Dumb, which insiders say contains more of himself than anything he has ever created, maintaining his fashion empire, all while staring down a felony conviction that could strip everything away. Whispers from his camp say Rocky has not been sleeping properly in months. Anxiety has become a constant companion. There are nights he sits in the studio, not recording, just sitting in darkness, processing the magnitude of what he faces. He has reportedly told one close friend that the worst part is not the fear of prison itself, it is the thought of his sons growing up and not understanding why their father was not there for the mundane, beautiful, everyday moments. The first days of school, the bedtime stories, the scraped knees. That is what keeps him up at night. And through all of it, he has tried to shield Rihanna, to carry it alone, to be the unshakable man he thinks she needs. But here's the thing about carrying a mountain alone. Eventually, your knees buckle, and the fall shakes everything around you. Now layer Rihanna's reality on top, running a multi-billion-dollar empire, Fenty Beauty, Savage X Fenty, her music legacy, motherhood, managing everything while being the emotional anchor for 2 small children and a partner quietly unraveling under pressure he refuses to share. Sources paint a woman exhausted in ways unrelated to business, the emotional labor of always being the strong one, the constant vigilance protecting her family from media vultures, the quiet fear that one verdict could blow her world apart. She survived so much already, the abuse, the humiliation, a decade of rebuilding herself brick by brick into the fortress she is today. And now the one person she let past every wall is caught in a nightmare neither can control. Friends reveal growing emotional distance in recent months, not from falling out of love, the kind that grows when two people are drowning but neither admits they need air. Rocky goes deeper into the studio. Rihanna buries herself in work. Conversations become logistical. Who picks up Raza? Did Riot eat? When is the next hearing? Intimacy erodes quietly until you realize you haven't actually talked in weeks, maybe longer. And the worst part is that both of them can feel it happening, but neither knows how to stop it. That is the context, the invisible weight at that table before a word was spoken. Hold all of it in your mind as we go inside. The reservation was under an alias, a private space at one of LA's most discreet restaurants where staff sign NDAs and walls keep secrets. This was not spontaneous. Sources say Rihanna initiated it. She told someone close she needed to look Rocky in the eyes without distractions, without kids crying, without phones buzzing, without the noise that had been drowning out their connection for months. The room felt sacred. Soft golden candlelight, expensive white roses, jazz humming low enough to fill silence without dominating it. Every detail designed to strip away armor. This was supposed to be the night they found each other again. Rihanna arrived first, breathtaking, but different, not performing beauty for cameras, a woman who dressed deliberately for one person. She ordered wine and waited. When Rocky walked in, his outfit was impeccable, but his face told another story. Heaviness behind his eyes, tightness in his jaw. He was not ASAP Rocky, he was Rakim, a man carrying something he could no longer hold alone. The first part was gentle. They talked about the boys. Rocky did an impression of something Riot did that made Rihanna genuinely laugh. They shared memories and inside jokes. For a few precious minutes, the weight lifted. It felt like home, like the early days on that tour bus when the only thing that existed was they two of them in the open road. But Rihanna reads energy like others read text. She senses emotional shifts the way animals sense earthquakes. Somewhere between appetizer and main course, she felt it. Something in Rocky was changing, something heavy rising to the surface like water about to boil over. She leaned forward, candlelight catching her face, and asked the question that changed everything. "You okay?" Rocky gave the answer everyone gives when falling apart. "Yeah, I'm good." His voice caught on the last word, just enough for her to hear. She did not push, leaned back, gave him space, but her eyes never left his face. Minutes passed. Food sat untouched. The jazz floated between them like a ghost. Then she leaned in again, closer, and asked softly, "What is it, baby?" The room changed. Rocky looked at her with what sources describe as the most vulnerable expression they have ever seen from him. Eyes glassy, hands restless on the tablecloth. For a man who built his identity on effortless composure, this was seismic. He was wrestling with something enormous, and for the first time in their entire relationship, he was not even attempting to hide it from her. Then, slowly, he reached inside his designer jacket. Rihanna went completely still. Her mind raced. A ring, a phone with bad news, evidence, a legal document. When the person you love reaches for something hidden during intense vulnerability, your heart does not wait for your brain, it panics. What he pulled out was a piece of paper, folded carefully, almost reverently, like it had been handled dozens of times before he walked into that restaurant. A handwritten note. In 2026, when every emotion is filtered through screens, a handwritten letter is an act of war against everything superficial. It means someone sat down with a pen and forced themselves to be honest in a way autocorrect cannot fix and a delete button cannot save you from. Every word chosen deliberately, every word permanent. There is something almost sacred about putting pen to paper in a world that has made vulnerability almost extinct. Rihanna stared at the note. Her entire demeanor shifted. The composure, the billionaire armor, flickered. She was not Rihanna, she was Robin, terrified of what she was about to read. Rocky placed it in front of her, looked her dead in the eyes, and said 5 words that made her stomach free fall. "I need you to read this." Not casual, not sweet, the raw, heavy instruction of a man who had emptied his soul onto paper and was handing her the most unguarded version of himself he had ever offered anyone. I need to be transparent. I do not have the exact words on that note. Nobody outside that room does, and anyone who claims otherwise is lying to you. But I have the aftermath, the receipts, the fallout, and the 3 theories currently tearing the internet apart. First, what happened when she read it? Rihanna unfolded the note slowly, hands steady at first, decades of practiced control holding firm. She read the opening lines, read them again, and then something behind her eyes quietly and irreversibly shattered. The tears did not come dramatically, no sobbing, no wailing, far worse. The kind of crying from somewhere so deep it produces no sound at first. Her shoulders shook with a barely perceptible tremor. She pressed fingertips against her lips as if physically holding herself together. Then the tears fell, silently, relentlessly, like they had been waiting for permission. Rocky reached across and took both her hands. He did not explain, did not offer hollow comfort. He just held her and let her feel whatever she needed to feel. Sources say at one point he was crying too, quietly. This golden boy of hip-hop, tears on his face, holding the hands of the only woman who truly knows him while she processed something that rewired her emotional landscape in minutes. They sat like that for a long time, long enough for staff to avoid the room, long enough for candles to burn lower, long enough for whatever was written on that paper to permanently settle into both of their bones. Not a single word was spoken during those minutes. The silence was the loudest thing either of them had ever heard.
Then they left. The outside world got its only glimpse. Paparazzi captured footage analyzed frame by frame since. Rocky emerges first, head down, hood up, something he never does leaving restaurants, because he usually plays to cameras with that trademark grin. He moves quickly, silently, like a man outrunning something invisible. Then Rihanna, dark sunglasses at night. She clutches her bag tight against her chest, a textbook self-soothing, protective posture. No acknowledgement of cameras. She moves directly into the tinted SUV. No wave, no smirk, no signature energy. Silence and speed. One photographer who has covered them for years reportedly told a colleague that in all his time shooting them, he has never seen them leave looking like that. Never. A TikTok body language analyst noted the tension in Rocky's jaw and a tremble in Rihanna's hand reaching for the car door. Their physical distance, walking separately, suggested they were processing something so overwhelming that even proximity was too much. The second this footage hit, the world caught fire. On X, the Navy mobilized instantly. One tweet with over 80,000 likes read, "If Rakeem Mayers did anything to stress out my sister while she is minding her billionaire business and raising his kids, we ride at dawn." The protectiveness was immediate, fierce, and organized. Fan accounts started compiling every piece of evidence they could find. Timelines were constructed, theories were born within minutes. The hip-hop community pushed back hard. A Reddit thread on our hip-hop heads gained massive traction, with one post stating, "Y'all are trippin'. Rocky is facing serious time." That note was not a breakup. It was probably his contingency plan for the kids if he goes to prison, or him telling her to distance herself before the trial gets ugly. That interpretation sent chills through everyone who read it, because suddenly this was not gossip anymore. It was a man potentially preparing his family for the unthinkable. A well-connected entertainment journalist posted a now-deleted tweet claiming they spoke to someone adjacent to Rocky's legal team who confirmed the case has taken a concerning turn. New motions, unfavorable rulings on evidence admissibility, the kind of procedural shifts that make defense attorneys have brutally honest conversations about worst-case scenarios. Another source in legal media hinted that key evidence Rocky's team was hoping to suppress may be ruled admissible, which would fundamentally alter the trajectory of the trial. If true, the timing of that dinner makes devastating sense. Here are the 3 theories dominating every conversation. Sit with each one. The evidence for all 3 is uncomfortably compelling. Theory 1, the legal reckoning. This keeps people up at 3 in the morning.
Rocky's legal team may have delivered news so grim he put a contingency plan in writing. When you face years behind bars with a partner and 2 children depending on you, you eventually have the conversation nobody wants. Who takes care of the boys? How do finances work? What does Rihanna tell Raza and Riot when they ask where daddy went? Writing it down is not just emotional, it is devastatingly practical. A man staring into an abyss, building a bridge for his family before he falls in. If this is what happened, the tears were not about a letter. They were about the possibility of losing him, not to another woman, not to falling out of love, to a prison cell. Theory 2. The unspoken vow. Some close to the situation believe the note was profoundly romantic, not a traditional proposal, but something deeper. A written vow from a man who could not trust his voice, so he wrote every fear, every promise, every raw admission of being terrified of losing her. Insiders quietly suggest it may have included what amounts to a proposal, not with a diamond ring, but with permanent words on paper, because paper does not flinch and paper does not forget. If true, Rihanna's tears were not pain. They were the soul-shaking experience of being loved so completely by someone who could never fully express it until that moment. Theory 3. The noble retreat. Nobody wants to believe this, but everyone fears it might be real. Rocky, in heartbreaking self-awareness, may have written why he needs to step away. Not because he does not love her, because he loves her and those boys too much to let his problems destroy what she built. The trial grows uglier weekly. Every headline drags her name alongside his. With 2 children in the crossfire, maybe the most loving thing was removing himself entirely, fighting alone so Rihanna and the boys are not collateral damage in a war they never chose. If true, this is not a breakup, it is a sacrifice, and the tears came from a woman reading the most selfless and devastating thing anyone has ever written to her. There is a 4th possibility circulating quietly among those who know them best. Some believe the note contained all 3 elements woven into a single devastating document: a legal contingency, a declaration of love, and a farewell. That Rocky wrote the most important document of his life, covering every scenario because he does not know what tomorrow holds. He needed her to have everything in his handwriting, so no matter what happens, she would always know what she meant to him and what he wanted for their family. Neither Rihanna nor Rocky has spoken publicly about that night. Knowing them, they never will. They guard their private life with sacred intensity. But the curtain slipped. What we glimpsed was not the polished power couple the world admires. It was 2 deeply real human beings in extraordinary pain, navigating the impossible with nothing but fierce love and a folded piece of paper between them. That is the dark truth right now. Behind the billions, the fashion, the beautiful boys, and viral moments, 2 human beings stand at a crossroads that could define the rest of their lives, and neither knows which way the road goes from here. All they know is that one piece of paper changed the gravitational pull of their entire universe. Trial dates approach. Pressure mounts hourly. Somewhere in a Los Angeles mansion, a folded piece of paper holds words so powerful they made the toughest woman in entertainment weep and the smoothest man in hip-hop speechless. Whatever was written, one thing is undeniable. It was the truth, and truth does not care about net worth, fan bases, or curated images. It arrives uninvited, and it demands to be acknowledged. And you either face it together, hand in hand, or you face it completely and utterly alone. I need to hear from you, because this story is not finished. The internet is split, and honestly, so am I. What was on that note? A legal last resort? The most vulnerable love letter hip-hop has ever produced? A sacrifice so noble it might destroy them? Drop your theory in the comments, because this conversation is far from over, and your perspective might be the one that cracks this wide open. If this hit different, you know what to do. Subscribe, ring that bell, smash the like, because these stories do not tell themselves. Click the video on screen for my breakdown of sealed court documents in Rocky's case that just surfaced, because what is in those filings changes everything. Stay locked in, stay vigilant, And remember, the stories they try hardest to hide are always the ones that matter most. See you in the next one.